Okay, so we all want to order the new Model S. The Plaid mode and the Plaid Plus looks amazing, but most of us can't afford the £100,000 or dollars price tag, and we don't want to wait until 2022. So right now in 2021, should you buy a new Model 3 or a 2016 Model S for similar money? Or if you already own a Model S, should you move to the Model 3? Well, I think there's an obvious answer, but before we jump in, let's look at some of the headlines. So a new Model 3 long range is about £46,000 in the UK. A 2016 Model S is about £35,000. Now of course this will depend at different times that you look, but this is based on the available inventory. So there's a significant saving on getting a Model S, which is a much higher spec car and had a much higher price tag when it was new, over a Model 3. There are some positives for the Model S for sure. It is a much bigger car. Part of my worry about getting a Model 3 was that it would be too small for family life, and the Model S is a bigger car. It has a bigger boot, it has more room in the back, and it just feels a bit more roomy inside. I also really like the door handles. I like that it's very obvious that it's unlocked and it's ready for you to pull them. I think it's also really cool how they just pop out as you walk up to the car. In this model here, there are also bonus seats in the boot, but I'm not sure I'd really want a vehicle with that as an option because you lose that extra boot space, and I'm not sure realistically you'd ever want anyone to sit in those seats. In the Model S, of course, you have two screens as well. You have the big center screen, and then you have the screen as the dashboard where you would expect to see a screen. This isn't just a positive though, as the screen in the center is, I think, a little bit too big. The touch controls down the bottom end up being really far away from your eye line as you're looking forward at the road, so you have to take your eyes miles away from the road to be able to look down and change the temperature of the cabin, for example. I do quite like the dash screen, although after spending a few months driving the Model 3, I'm not sure it really adds much over just having one screen in the middle like you have in the Model 3. Another positive for the Model S in this model that I've got here is that the sunroof opens. I love this feature, I always look for it in a car and I think it's a really nice touch. Now for some of the positives of the Model 3. A big one for me with the Model 3 is that it's newer technology. Now this isn't just to do with the batteries and the motor, I think it carries through everything that Tesla are doing, down to the seat design and the whole interior cabin experience. I think in the Model 3 it's much cleaner, it's much more modern, and it feels more Tesla. Whereas I think in the Model S, it feels like a crossbreed between all the different car brands that you've ever known before. And there's buttons kind of all over the place. And yes, sometimes that's a positive, you've got buttons that control the wing mirrors. But actually, once you've driven a Model 3, you realise that you don't need a lot of those buttons. And another thing is that the Model S doesn't have any side door bins, and for those that have done long road trips, you know that a door bin is essential to put your snacks and your drink in. And this next one, although it might seem very small, but to me the Model S steering wheel is ginormous. I measured it at 46 centimeters, whereas the Model 3 is only 40 centimeters. That 6 centimeter difference, it really is noticeable, and the Model S feels like you're driving a tractor with a massive steering wheel in front of you. So for a lot of people, a really important subheading would be, what do they like to drive? And I have to say, for me, this is the biggest difference between the two cars. The Model S feels mushy, it wallows around on the road, and I really don't like it compared to the Model 3. The Model 3 feels tight, it feels crisp, it feels nimble, whereas the Model S just feels a bit old. And well, I guess it is old. This car I'm driving is 4 or 5 years old with 50,000 miles on the clock, so maybe you'd expect that. Also, the Model S is a lot louder. You can hear wind noise from outside, but also you can hear the motor. You can hear a constant high-pitched whirl of the motor in a way that you can't in the Model 3. Now don't shoot me down in the comments, this might be specific to this Model S that I'm driving, but it's definitely here in this Model S, and I would not want to own this car. Another area is the steering, and I know I've complained about the steering before in the Model 3, saying that it either feels too light or too heavy, but in the Model S it just feels bad. It feels like you're steering by wire, even though I know that you aren't, but the steering wheel just does not feel connected to the wheels, and it's really loose even on its firmest setting. And overall, the Model S just doesn't feel as planted as the Model 3. Now onto looks. Now obviously you can make up your own mind here, but I think that the Model 3 wins this category hands down. Now I'm not comparing it to a 2022 Model S, which I think looks stunning. I'm comparing it between this 2016 Model S and my Model 3, and I think the Model 3 is the winner. So what should you part your money on? Well, for me, the clear winner is the Model 3. If I currently owned a 2016 Model S, then I'm not sure I would change it for a Model 3. I'd probably wait until the 2022 Model S is released and then get that if I could afford to do so. But if I was choosing right now between a new Model 3 versus a used Model S, as I did a few months ago, then I would have to say that the Model 3 would definitely be the winner for me. I hope you found this video useful. Please remember to like and subscribe. I've got plenty more Tesla content on the way. And if you're still listening, then please give me a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. Cheers.